Hello, BookTube. If you notice over here, there are no books, which means it is time for my April book haul. But first, to show you how many books I got this month, my poor book and globe fell and cracked. Very sad. Anyway, so let's begin with the book I've already shown you that I've gotten for this month, and that is Catch and Kill by Ronan Farrow. This is one of the books for the BookTube prize that I'm reading for this round, and now I'd intended to, as much as possible, use the library to collect and read the books for the BookTube prize that for the groups I'm judging. And for the most part, it's worked. The first round, I managed to read all of the books for the the nonfiction book prize is in my library system, but it's available. Like in the first round, I easily got 4 of the 6, and then 2, me and the Yellow House, ended up having several people requesting the book in front of me, so I was afraid I would end up running out of time and went ahead and just bought them. And for this round, obviously the other complication was the library was closed due to the COVID-19 pandemic and the shelter-in-place order. So I eventually found all of them were available in ebook or audiobook form. And so I managed to read all of them or listen to all of them through that form. Unfortunately, Catch and Kill had some weird hold or issue that made me concerned that I wouldn't be able to read it in time or listen to it because it's on audiobook. So I went ahead and ordered it. And then about the day after that, it became available. So I checked it out and then decided I was going to read this if it came, and it did. So I read it in physical copy instead of listening to the audiobook. But yeah, sorry about that. So moving on from Catch and Kill, I'll move on to the cookbooks. So I've mentioned several times that there are several cookbooks I've had when I first moved into this apartment that a few weeks after I moved in, I unhauled them or I purged them from my collection, largely because I was running out of shelf space. When I moved in, I had these 2 shelves, this one sibling, and a tall particle board bookcase that I bought from Target. And about going on 2 years ago, it fell apart. And so my brother made me this one here to replace it. But I was running out of books, shelf space, so I had to purge some books, and unfortunately, the 3 cookbooks I had had to go. I've regretted getting rid of them ever since, particularly since the library withdrew them from their collection, so I couldn't get them from there. So last year, I picked up one of the books, the first volume of the Gourmet Cookbook. There's 2. I picked up the yellow one. They're edited by Ruth Reichel. I'm still wanting to get the second volume, again edited by Ruth Reichel. And there is this first one I'm going to show you, which was the first one of the 3 that I collected. And I actually picked it up from Golden's, but I haven't seen it since, so I ordered it from Alibris through Owls, and it was a pretty good deal, so And yeah, so I'll explain this in a second. So, Japanese Cooking, A Simple Art by Shizuo Tsuji. I picked this up, so I think Interlibrary loaned it through the library, and come to find out there was actually a copy in the library, and also there was one in golden, so I bought it. Quite enjoyed it, although never quite got around to cooking anything from it, though I do plan to rectify that this time around. So I purged it, and I really wanted it back in my collection ever since. And it's been in my Libris wish list for years. And late last month, I was looking, and I saw that there was a good deal, a fairly inexpensive copy was available through Owls. I think it was Owls. So I went ahead and picked it up, and quite happy. It's not in as good a condition as the one I had, but it's a cookbook, and a little wear, a show of use is perfectly acceptable. No, very happy to have it back. And while I was adding Japanese cooking to my cart, I decided, I wonder if Owls has any other cookbooks available for really good prices, and they did. So I also picked up the new Spanish Table by Anya von Bremen. I checked this out. I mean, there's a copy in the library. I don't know if it's still there though, that I checked out a few years ago and really enjoyed it. Definitely wanted to check out several of the recipes, and I added it pretty quickly to my cart. So very happy to have it, and am looking forward to trying some of the recipes. And the final cookbook I picked up is Simple Chinese Cooking by Kylie Kwong. This one was, again, I picked it up in my library, really enjoyed it. Also, I think I've seen at least some of her cooking series. I think in the early 2000s, she had at least one cooking series. So I enjoyed it, and I wanted to add it to my collection, particularly recently, so I went ahead and bought it. Quite happy to have it too. So I'm going to have to readjust how I'm doing these books, because I do want to do a book pyramid at the end. So before I get to the history books, I do want to show the book. Oh no, I'll get that one to the end because it is kind of small. So anyway, so let's move on to the history before I get to the lone fiction book. So I also picked up 6 history books, 2 of which I've already read and have wanted to add to my collection. So first is How to Hide an Empire, A History of the Greater United States by Daniel Immerwahr. I read this early last year and quite enjoyed it, and have been wanting to add it to my collection ever since. And also my 3rd place finisher from the first run of the BookTube prize that I really wanted to pick up, Sea People, The Puzzle of Polynesia by Christina Thompson. Very happy to have this in my collection. And also, this one. And in with How to Hide an Empire, Sea People, and Catch and Kill, and Order from Libris, as Bloodlands, Europe Between Hitler and Stalin by Timothy Snyder. I want to say I heard about this book first through Fire and Blood by Enzo Traverso. Or I was looking at books that he mentioned in his book, and I think this came up and I sounded interesting, so I wanted to add it to my collection. So obviously these 4 books I ordered from Libris itself, and it was a very interesting journey getting to me. So it took several days for them to process the order and ship it, and then it hit Dallas and got into the postal service. It then went to Abilene for three days, constantly like departing and then being in transit and then re-departing from Abilene. And then it went to Fort Worth and did that a few days, and then eventually, about 2 days after it was supposed to arrive, the package arrived last Friday. Very happy to have them, though. From Amazon, I ordered 2 history books. Abbas Amanat's Iran, A Modern History. And Tim Mackintosh-Smith's Arabs, A 3,000-Year History of Peoples, Tribes, and Empires. Quite happy to have both of them in my collection. And finally, the second to last book package I got in is A Post-Wall, Post-Square by Christina Spohr. This is a history of the end of the Cold War and the immediate aftermath of, obviously, the fall of the Berlin Wall and the events of Tiananmen Square. Steve Donahue had this book and featured this book in one of his mail hauls, and I thought it sounded very interesting, so I've been wanting to pick it up. In March, I ran out of book budget money to pick it up when it came out, so I was looking for a relatively inexpensive copy through Libris, and I found one, and so I jumped on it. I was going to buy this along with The Napoleonic Wars, A Global History by Alexander Mikaberidze. I hope I'm pronouncing it right, because they were both on Libris and pretty good deals, particularly the Napoleonic Wars. But unfortunately, I decided not to jump on that, but then I decided to jump on this one after Napoleonic Wars had already left the cart thing. I'm going to try to do a pyramid. I'm trying to get everybody. This might not work. Or it might be for a very brief moment. We shall see. And so the final book I picked up, the one that came in today, and why this haul is so late, is Swimming in the Dark by Tomasz Jedrowski. It's a gay novel set in Poland. And Steve Donahue, I think, the one who put me onto this, he hauled it a few months ago, I think. And then he did there was a video where he was talking about several books he'd read recently that he recommended, and this is one of them. Along with, there's another one I wanted to pick up too that I might next month. So I'm like, maybe I ought to check it out. So I pre-ordered it from Amazon, and it came in today. And so looking forward to reading Swimming in the Dark. So now let me try to do a pyramid and not be buried. No. Okay. So that was my book haul for April. Very clearly, I blew my book budget for April. probably will do the same for me, the rate I'm going. But anyway, so yeah. So I'm going to go put these books up as I upload this video. And then in a few minutes, I will film another video. There's the book addict tag I want to do. So yeah, excuse me. I will see you again in a few minutes or hour, depending. But anyway, so until then, BookTube, stay safe.